stalker household anyway. So call the Columbia County Planning Board meeting for the month of March to order. Everybody get a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a form of motion there, Larry? Larry so moves and Terry seconds it?
Sounds good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. It's the bat phone.
Sorry.
That's all right.
What I had it on. I better turn it on silent that way. Everyone knows you have a meeting until they don't, and then the phone starts to ring. Okay.
Good evening, Oswaldo.
Hello. Okay, so we have 5 referrals this evening. The first one. This one. How did I do that? The first one is the Town of Ankrum Planning Board, Joseph Romano. The location is 795 Wiltsey Bridge Road. And this is to construct a solar array. That's issuance of a special use permit within 500 feet of an active farm within an ag district. Existing land use is residential, surrounding is residential and ag. This is a map showing the farmland soils on the parcel. It's prime farmland and farmland of statewide importance. This purple line shows proximity to parcels within 500 feet that are located within an ag district with farm operations on them. And this is the real property class map showing that the parcel is classified as residential and the brown are classified as agricultural in use by real property for taxing purposes. Trying to make this larger. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, sorry. Do something. Okay. So the special use permit is required for the ground-mounted solar array for the single-family residence. It's 5 kilowatt. And it's approximately 23 feet, 10 inches and 3/4 and 3/5 of an inch. This is the existing site view. This is the proposed site plan. Okay, so you can see this is the existing residence. This is the location of the proposed array here. These are the setback distances shown to the property lines, ranging from 273 to the largest being 600 feet. The required setback is 20 feet, so certainly within. I have Steve on my landline. I'm going to just answer it, okay?
Yep.
He's not. Hi, Steve.
Nobody knows where she is. He said Kathy Stifler. So she said, no, I called Kathy and Kathy hasn't heard from her. He said, well, don't be surprised. He said, when I
Your pin?
was heard from her either.
Okay, maybe I gave it to you, the wrong pin to you. I'll check. We'll verify that. Do you want? I mean, I'm in the middle of the meeting, so I have to get to. The phone number is 1-507-607-0075.
Have Christine go down there and check them out.
507-607-0075.
And they haven't heard a thing.
And the PIN is 3815 39849.
They never made contact with Phil for Christmas.
Okay, great. Thanks. Bye-bye. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, he said that he's gonna have Christine go down and check them out in the house.
Just one of those rotating ones, the sun trackers?
Rotating, I'm not sure if it rotates or not.
Looks like it might be the size. That's what the way they are, usually under 25 feet.
I can't hear you understand.
I'm not really sure, Larry. They are proposing that the connection lines to the house and then to the disconnect and the generator here will be underground. There's also their proposed generator would be located in this area here. They're also proposing screening to be added here, and there's a better, shows a little bit better. So here's the proposed array, the distance to this existing residence, and then another residence over in this area. So they're proposing adding screening here to block this view, and then tree row here that would screen this views from this residence to the array. As I mentioned before, it's in proximity to existing ag uses. And so that would also trigger the requirement for an ag data statement, which was included within the referral packet. They have a letter from Central Hudson that accepting the application and granting preliminary construction approval. And that is here. We didn't really find any countywide impact from this. The only comments are related to the agricultural uses, noting that there are ag soils on site and that the location of the project is within proximity of the parcels within an ag district and triggering requirement for an ag data statement, which was included with the submittal. So those two comments, I go back to the site plan here, is the detail showing the width and the dimensions of the actual array, the footprint, if you will.
Okay, so this is just basically just for their own personal use, the
Or is it? Yes.
110%, no more than that, of the electric they use. Oh, hi, Steve. Welcome to the meeting.
Okay, Tim. Thanks.
So, any questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Larry so moves.
I'll second that.
Ed seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried with local decision with the two comments.
Okay. Our next referral is also from Ancrum. It's 21010V, Town of Ancrum Planning Board. The applicant is Jesse Kaplan. It's located at 181 Prospect Hill Road. It's to construct a solar array, issuance of a special use permit within 500 feet of an active farm within an ag district. The existing zoning is ag. The surrounding existing land use is residential, and surrounding land use residential and agricultural. There's an existing single-family residence with a pool, a studio, and proposed arrays. The special use permit is required for the ground-mounted solar array. It's a 20 kilowatt system. It's for single-family residence, and there are two arrays. They're referred to as the northern and southern arrays. and they're both approximately 47, almost 48 feet long. Requires approval from NYSERDA and Central Hudson Power Company for connection to the grid. There's a letter within the package that the expansion plan is complete and they received preliminary construction approval. The proposed setbacks are range from 768 to 147 to adjacent property lines. There is also another for 350 to an adjacent property. Show you those now. This shows the location of the agricultural soils on the parcel. It's just this little area over here where there are farmland of statewide importance soils. Again, this is the location of the ag district parcels in brown. So you can see this parcel is located within ag district and all the parcels abutting it and within 500 feet of it are also located within an ag district. And there are active farm operations on some of those parcels, triggering the need for the ag data statement. This is the property classification map using real property classification. So you see this is classified as residential and the others as agricultural. Okay. So this shows the existing aerial view of it with the two little arrays right here. And then this is the site plan. A little bit smaller so we get it all in here. So you see this is the existing residence. There's the garden. This is a studio building, pool, and the two arrays are proposed to be located over here, this area. The nearest residence is shown here, and the line of sight is shown to be 350 feet. There's existing vegetation that would provide screening towards this array from this structure. Again, the letter from Central Hudson that was I mentioned. And I think that's the last one for this one. We didn't find any countywide impact for this one either. It's a little, there are two arrays, but instead of the one from the other, the previous referral. Again, the two comments relate to the agricultural uses, that there are ag soils on site, but the location of these ag soils don't appear that they won't be impacted by this because they're on the other portion of the parcel. But the proximity to the active farms did trigger the requirement for an ag data statement, which was submitted. So there's those two comments.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or comments? If not, we'll welcome Rick Martino to the meeting as well for the record.
Okay.
So any questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Patrick will make the motion.
Patrick so moves. Mallory seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Is that everyone voting? Is that all 8 people voting, Rick? Or did I kind
Yeah.
of can't? Okay.
Listening.
Okay.
I had a hard time getting on tonight, but then I figured it out.
Really?
Good job, Rick.
I had to
Steve
go
had a
onto
hard
your,
time.
my quick app wasn't going. I had to go to your email, then link it, but then I got it.
Okay. You can do it on your phone too. If you download the Google app on your phone, you can, it works pretty well. It's quick. Okay. Next referral is 21011V, also from the Town of Ankrum Planning Board. The applicant James A. and Cynthia M. Stickle. Location 1241 County Route 7, to construct a single-family residence and storage parking. Approval of a site plan within 500 feet of a county highway. The existing zoning is AH/BR with existing land use is commercial, surrounding is residential and ag. There are existing structures and proposed. A site plan review is required for proposed single-family residence and storage building. There's existing garage, shop, and barn. It's a proposed 3-bedroom house, 30 by 64 with storage parking. There's existing access off of County Route 7. And it is within 500 feet of a parcel within the ag district with apparent active ag on it. This is the existing site plan. See this existing garage and other structure here, and this shows the proximity to the parcel within the ag district with farm operations on it. And again, the land use classifications from real property, residential in the yellow, commercial in the red. This parcel is classified as commercial, I believe. Doesn't show up with the overlay. It's a little glitch on our prod system. I apologize for that. So this is the site plan, and this is the only piece of information that was submitted to us. I requested additional information a few times via email to the Ankrum secretary, planning board secretary, and I didn't receive anything else. Well, it doesn't appear that there's any countywide impact. It's really, I mean, it's incomplete. Well, I didn't receive any application. I didn't receive environmental impact statement or environmental assessment form. So while I'd like to send a letter telling them that this is incomplete because we didn't receive any other information than the site plan.
I'd like to make a motion that we send this back with the note that it's incomplete at this time.
I'll second that.
Gary seconds. All those in
But
favor?
I have a question. Why is this even being submitted? It's a residential. I mean, you're putting a house in a place that's already got these storage places. I know this property pretty well.
Well, if I had additional information, I might.
That might be why you would understand why they submitted it, because, you know, it's close to, but it's a house. I mean, it's a house that's on a commercial property that's usually allowed.
Second use, though, maybe.
It's a second use, right? Because there's an existing barn and
So
there's
it's got
shop.
the existing, so that existing parking, that proposed storage parking, which is that building that says shop, there are definitely storage buildings, storage places in there, but they're on the other side of that building. Maybe there's some on that side too.
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna turn that into a storage facility and that would be the parking area for it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that might trigger it, I guess, but
Well, Ankrum does.
definitely some that face the road. There's some all along the face of that building. There's storage places.
Ankrum does have some requirements in their zoning law for some residential structures to have either abbreviated site plan review or site plan review based on their location. Sometimes it's within the scenic corridor overlay zone. So I'm not sure what triggered this.
They've already destroyed the scenic corridor.
Yeah. I don't believe that this is not in that, but so I don't know what triggered this site plan review because all I have is this.
So we had a motion, we had a second. Do we vote? All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried.
Okay, this next one isn't quite, it'll be a little bit longer. This is also from the town of Ankrum. This is the town of Ankrum Town Board. It's proposed local law number 1 as it relates to solar energy generating systems. Adoption of a local law amending the zoning. It's proposed local law number 1 of 2021, amending the town of Ankrum zoning law with regard to regulation of solar energy generating systems. I provided a kind of a lengthy summary. The proposed zoning law is very detailed, and it will repeal the existing section on solar energy systems in the Ancrum zoning law is 1 page long. So this is much more detailed and addresses a lot more types of solar applications, and is much more thorough and provides the town the ability to regulate these so it's in accordance with their comprehensive plan. And their comprehensive plan was adopted in 2019. So this will, they're all of the amendments they've been making to their zoning law, they've been doing like separate sections. So this is the most recent section dealing with the solar energy system. And it was prepared by a zoning review committee and then referred to the town board. I'll go over some of the information included in this. There's amendments to Article 3, the table of uses, adding under residential accessory uses, small scale solar energy systems. The rooftop and flush mounted of 25 kilowatts or less would be permitted in all zoning districts. Ground mounted and freestanding 25 kilowatts or less require a special use permit. And the building integrated would be permitted, requiring a building permit. The storage batteries associated with small scale systems, if they're located on the same parcel, would be permitted. If they are located on a different parcel, would require a special use permit. Under business uses for the community scale solar energy systems, 10 acres or less would be permitted in the ag zoning district with a special use permit. And storage batteries associated with community solar energy systems, if they're located on the same parcel, would require a special use permit, as well as on a different parcel, it would require a special use permit. For industrial uses, utility scale solar energy systems would be prohibited. They also provide for additional supplemental regulations and individual standards for selected uses. As I mentioned, the existing section is only 1 page, and that would be repealed and replaced by these proposed regulations. Any existing solar energy systems may continue as long as they have a valid building permit. However, if there's any modifications to that to increase the area greater than 5% of the original size, then that would require compliance with these new zoning law. They must be designed and erected and installed in accordance with all applicable codes, regulation, and industry standards. There are some general design and siting requirements for all systems, that they are placed and arranged so as to not add additional reflection or glare to adjacent properties or public roads, that they are of a non-reflective finish or neutral paint color so that they're in harmony with the surrounding area. They also require stamped by a licensed engineer or registered architect in the state of New York. All on-site power lines must be underground. The planning board has the authority to modify this requirement, and also would be in accordance with the utility company requirements. They must be accessible for fire and emergency service and police protection, and the planning board may require a local fire chief review. For rooftop and flush mounted systems for 25 kilowatts or less, they're would deem to be accessory structures and would be permitted with a unified solar permit without planning board review. The design requirements for pitched roof systems, there's a maximum of 8 feet between the roof and the highest edge of the system. They must be installed parallel to roof structure and not extend above the highest point of the roof. On flat roofs, they may not extend above the top of the parapet or more than 24 inches above the surface of the roof, and not be mounted higher than 5 feet above the maximum building height. For rooftop mounted, there must be a perimeter area that's maintained, and for pathways for emergency access. There is an exemption for smaller systems that are 1,000 square feet or less. They must have disconnect switches near the electric service meter, and on the electric meter, there must be a warning sticker. All of the systems require a permanent plaque or directory to identify where the system disconnects are located. And they're proposing that this be done as part of the permitting process, and that the code enforcement officer or building inspector inspect and evaluate the location and plaque design to ensure visibility. And this would occur during the permitting process. For ground mounted and freestanding small scale systems, this is 25 kilowatts or less, it would require a special use permit and a building permit. They may not be located in areas that are considered potentially environmentally sensitive, and the law lists a number of resources that are local and state sources that identify environmentally critical areas. They may not be located on slopes greater than 15%. Setback is 25 feet minimum on the rear and the side yard. Are not allowed within the front yard setback. There is one exception to that, and the planning board may allow them in a front yard if they aren't able to meet the setback requirements, depending upon the configuration of the lot. The maximum height of those is 15 feet, and there's no minimum lot size. Screening would be required from adjoining lots, and the planning board has the ability to require screening plan. And again, the plaque is required. For the building integrated systems, they must meet codes and obtain a building permit. For the community scale energy systems, this would be up to 10 acres. They identify a number of submission requirements, which I've listed in the summary. It includes site plan, electrical diagrams, stormwater pollution prevention plan, a decommissioning plan, the ability for the planning board to establish an escrow account. They also require landscaping plan and photo simulations and noise analysis. They're also created some general provisions for community solar energy systems, again, dealing with no reflection onto neighboring properties, establishing setbacks for a minimum of 100 feet on the side and rear and prohibited in the front yard. And the planning board is also granted the authority to increase the setback if the situation warrants. They also must be in harmony with the character of the surrounding neighborhood, adhere to all the codes. They're prohibited in the scenic corridor overlay zone. And again, the environmentally sensitive features must be identified and mitigated for adverse impacts. There will also be a requirement for perimeter fencing and 8.5 feet high, and also a 25-foot buffer area between the fence and the solar energy system to provide for adequate area for emergency access. The roadways that are within the actual system itself may not be impervious. They're also stating that previously cleared or disturbed areas would be the preferential locations on the site to locate the systems, and that the maximum clearing of any existing woodlands on a parcel would be at 10%. And then there's some more provisions. What needs to be included, they prefer that native grasses and vegetation be grown beneath the arrays. Also encourage the use of agricultural uses on that parcel also. Again, transmission lines underground. The lighting is only allowed if it is for safety or operational purposes. And the maximum height of these 15 feet. For storage batteries, for small scale and community scale, on the same parcel, they would be considered accessory uses. If it's on a different parcel, they would be considered additional principal use. As I mentioned before, utility scale would be prohibited, and they set forth the rationale for why they included the prohibition on utility scale solar. And this is because the with the state, under the new regulations, they are supposed to consider local laws when citing the major renewable energy facilities. And so this rationale establishes why the town has determined that these are not suitable within the town of Ankrum. And it's a really lengthy and thorough discussion and rationale for the siting board to consider if and when there would be a project that would be under that regulation that look to be proposed to be located in the town of Ankrum. There's also a number of definitions that are being proposed, and I've listed those that are proposed to be added. We didn't find any countywide impact from this. One comment noting that the proposed local law includes detailed requirements related to solar energy design, and suggesting that proposed law be reviewed for conformity with provisions with Uniform Building Code, considering that the method for reviewing and updating the provisions related to the Uniform Code, and also in consideration that the enforcement of the building code is under the authority of the Ankrum Code Enforcement Officer, and some of the proposed provisions may be subject to building permit requirements rather than site plan review or special use permit requirements.
Yeah, that was, when I read through the law, I could see where there may be some issues with the building inspector or the zoning enforcement officer kind of duking it out there.
I mean, I have questions on how this works. I mean, I know there's been a thing in Copiague where the New York State Siting Board kind of has said, we're going to do it, and they're not letting Copiague speak up very much, or Copiague's trying to get their voice heard. By putting this regulation in here about not allowing them, does that make it easier for the siting board to hear you? I mean, is that the whole purpose of this?
Yeah, I think that's their
the
reason.
siting board can overrule whatever and do whatever they want.
Yes, they can.
Yeah. In the Copiague case, they have reduced the size of that after, getting so much feedback from the town, so much blowback, I guess, from the town. They have reduced it by about 60%. So it's a much smaller siting. It's still huge, still big, but
It's 360 acres now.
yeah.
Wow.
Instead of 700 or whatever it was going to be.
Yep.
100 and some. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I
by-
don't know if that's.
So by having this
Maybe
description,
they propose them as much larger, saying that, well, we heard from the community, so we reduced the size of it down to such and such or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure they can just kind of decide to do what they want to do, obviously. So.
The siting board is required to consider any local legislation, any local laws on solar energy systems. So that's why they set forth in this proposed law really detailed rationale for prohibiting them within the town. And the siting board is required within the law to consider what the local laws that are in place. Whether it won't necessarily stop it, it could minimize the size potentially, but they're required to consider it. There are some other local laws zoning laws within the county that prohibit them as well, but there isn't as detailed a rationale proposed or set forth in their zoning law. This is unique. I've never seen one written this way. This is brand new to me. So
This is like the first one project though, too.
I didn't hear you.
I think this is the first law that's been proposed since that project came up in Copiague too, I think.
Yeah.
and it's definitely a reaction to that.
Oh, I don't blame him. I'd do it too.
It seems like kind of a futile effort to me that, like you said, maybe it can reduce the size, but they
You gotta try something. You got
something. I mean, the town of Gallatin, we've got that one-page thing about, freestanding or on the roof, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And the town supervisor says, oh, we don't have to worry about it because we don't have three-phase power. They can get three-phase power. I mean, they'll figure that out. That's not that difficult to make happen if they want a huge thing. I think Ankrum is very good because they do have a lot of these things, the scenic corridors and all the different documentation about their town and the environmental impacts that it's much better than I know we have in the town of Gallatin. So they do have a lot to back this up. Where, we're going through right now, about to go through. We started last year, but we didn't get very far to redo our comprehensive plan or to update it. And then we're going to be looking at some of these same things. And I know Larry's always said we need something in Gallatin to help us. And at least this is a help. At least it says, we don't really want these things, but if you do, here's some guidelines for them. And I didn't read the whole document. Patrice, I appreciate this summary because it made it easier to kind of hit the high spots and know what's there.
Yeah, well, if you're interested, that section is like the very last, it's the very last section of the proposed local law, the rationale. It's quite lengthy.
Yeah.
It identifies all the reasons, all the natural resources, all the slopes, the scenic resources, agriculture, soils, everything is set out, and there are various plans local plans that Ankrum has adopted to support these assertions. So it's very thorough.
I think the decommissioning, they push that over onto the landowner, don't they?
What do you mean push it over to the landowner?
Well, remember we've heard of these different training sessions and that where the community should stay out of it as far as the decommissioning of these projects, and they should encourage the landowners and the actual landowners and whoever the in-between person is to get involved with any bonds or letters of credit or anything.
I remember talking about that the last time. They have a lot of provisions to address what happens if it doesn't.
Yeah.
If they don't complete the decommissioning, what measures can be taken. The town can complete their measures and then put a lien on the property. For instance, I don't recall there being something as specific as the property owner as opposed to the owner of its owner. I think it's worded owner or operator.
Is there anything in state regulations that says you can't put them in floodplain? I know they've got it on here that they don't want them not located in the floodplain. We've got one coming up that they want to put in the floodplain, and they claim it's engineered to withstand high water. So I don't know.
There's nothing that I know on state law. I mean, it would come out that should be identified in the environmental impacts.
I mean, I would think that would
the
be
environmental assessment form that's present on the site, and that would be considered, in your environmental review.
Yeah.
I mean, we can build houses in floodplains with the proper foundations and things. I'm sure they could do that.
And then watch them float away.
No, you stop being like that. Okay.
Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we accept staff's recommendation.
Ed so moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Rick seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, that's all the referrals for tonight.
I thought we had one in Kinderhook too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. And
the
I
auction house.
21013V.
I'm sorry. All right.
What's that quarantine thing?
Hi, Patrice.
What's that?
I said, you're tired of this, huh?
No, I
Yeah, after that last one, it seemed like it should have been the finale. didn't it?
okay, let me back up. Here we go. I even closed myself out and everything. Okay. I will present now.
Drum roll, please.
Okay, so the last referral is 21013, Town of Kinderhook Planning Board. The applicant is the Pepper Group for Old Kinderhook Auction Company. Location is 3358 US Route 9, which is north of Maple Lane North. It's to establish an auction house. It's approval of a site plan within 500 feet of a state highway. The existing zoning is B1 MFO. The existing land use is a vacant restaurant. The surroundings, commercial, residential. The structure is 3,300 square feet. Parcel 2.15 acres. Site plan review is required for a change in use to establish an auction house in an existing structure, previously the home of Gigi's Restaurant. There are two structures on the parcel, a two-story dwelling in the rear of the parcel behind the proposed gallery. The structure is situated with frontage on US 9. Their use includes gallery space with 2,300 square feet, which includes customer floor area of 1,100 square feet and a storage space of 900 square feet. There's existing access off of US Route 9, and there are existing paved parking areas to the north and south of the structure with 24 parking spaces. There's existing lighting and proposed additional lighting in the parking areas. There's existing freestanding sign. It's also within 500 feet of a parcel within an ag district with apparent active ag use on it. So this is the location of the proposed auction house. This is the two-story residential structure behind it. The access drives here and here, parking here and here. Mentioned the parcel within the ag district. You can see the purple line identifies the 500 feet. So it gets two of them. And the land use classifications, commercial, residential.
Do they think 24 spaces is gonna be enough for an auction barn? It's not a lot.
Looks like it connects to a parking lot on the other side too.
Well, they're showing us the 24 in the front on 9 there.
The parking lot on the, there are two here. These are two spaces. There's also this, Larry, what are you talking about over here?
Yeah, is there any place there they can park? 24 is not much for an auction.
That is not their property.
Oh,
That's a different
okay.
parcel. I believe it has the gas station on it.
Yeah, that would be the gas station next up.
The next place is Route 9. They park along Route 9 is what they're gonna do.
And now I don't know. This was subdivided at one point in time because this was also included this parcel, I believe, at one point in time.
What is that parcel on the right?
This one?
Yeah.
It's had a number of different uses over time. I'm not sure what's right now.
From that aerial, that parking lot continues all the way across there. So there's
Yeah,
more spaces people will use.
Yeah, there's gravel parking area back here.
That was like a karate studio or something like that back in there.
Yeah,
Years ago, it was an auto parts store.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, it's had quite a few iterations over the years.
Yes, it's been a lot of things. You see, this is the gas station here. So this other access point is not, I don't think there's a clear drive through here. There may be, but I'm not positive.
But if you look at the bottom there, that parking lot continues across in front of that karate studio.
Yeah.
And people use that.
Yeah. So I guess that would be a valid comment to add about the parking. I didn't find any countywide impact from this, but did note that there may be some required improvements with DOT for the change in use from the auction, from the restaurant to the auction, and also noting the proximity to the parcel in the ag district, the ag data statement. I'll go back to the site plan. Yes, so while this is shown over there, they are only counting the 16 spaces here and the 8 on this side. And I understand that what you're saying, that this is showing up where the parcel has additional spaces, which maybe there's an agreement with the adjacent property owner. I don't have that information, but that
Also, the gallery space, which I would assume would be where they would hold the auctions, it's only 1,000 square feet. Not
Right.
like you're going to put a ton of people in there.
right, it's small. You see, they're only counting these spaces. You're not identifying these as parking spaces that would be available.
So the power, where the karate studio is, that's a separate parcel, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't even know how things are getting there. I mean, I think they should ask for traffic flow,
What do you mean how things are getting there? What do you mean by that?
deliveries, and I mean, are things coming into the auction on tractor trailer, van, just to clear up, just to help them kind of clear up what's exactly being auctioned off there.
So a circulation plan, is that what you're suggesting, Tim?
Yeah, there's something I'm sure maybe they've had these discussions.
And also to review for the adequacy of the amount of parking available on site.
I mean, I think like Meisner's up there in New Lebanon. I mean, they've got a large parking lot in back, but I've never seen it that full up there. I think the 24 might be enough. I don't know. Depends what they auction off.
I mean, if you put 24 people in that front gallery, you got a crowd in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I hope they make a go of it. It's seen a lot of different entities there, that's for sure. So, any other questions or comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Mallory so moves. I'll second it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Who's the
Aye.
second? Who's the second?
I was.
Patrice, Patrick will be an abstention to this vote.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay. So this was the last referral.
You're sure?
Deja vu.
Patrick, that's been vacant for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
We can get something.
Yeah, and there's supposedly, I didn't want to make any comments, but it's supposedly just some antiques and stuff. And they're expecting very light, flow. And he's
Yep.
just going to move stuff himself in a van.
Good.
But that's what's proposed. But they apparently didn't foreclose any of that to you.
No, whatever you guys can just document it in your minutes or whatever, and
Yeah,
that'll be good. Hopefully, it makes a good go of it.
I wish him well. Seems like a nice guy. So
Okay. I don't know. Did anybody get a chance? I watched the comprehensive plan training session. That was pretty good from Planning Federation the other day.
Yeah.
The noontime one seemed to work out, at least for me anyway.
Yeah.
Just when it's went out. So they've got some more coming up, and like I said, the Planning Federation is still trying to put something together for June about renewable energies and how they relate to the planning board and zoning boards. So we'll have more news on that in a little bit.
Good.
Therese, do you have anything else for this illustrious board?
No, I don't.
No. Does anybody else have anything to bring before this illustrious board at this time?
Patrice, I wonder if it's possible to, I know in the past, we've had exempt actions where the local towns could exempt certain types of actions from referral to the county planning board. These small scale solar projects are almost 100% of the time going to be a local decision. I wonder if we should draft up something making them an exempt action, sending them out to the towns to consider adopting them. So that's, otherwise I could see our board having 15, 20 of these little minor ones at a meeting, and they're all going to be local decision.
Yeah, there might be some other items that we may want to add to the exempt actions list also, like the Ancrum residential property. I think that was, I mentioned the abbreviated site plan review, and the town of Ancrum actually asked, if that could be exempt. And I said, it can be, but we have to go through the process. You have to suggest it to us. We have to accept it. You have to adopt it by resolution, with the town board. And so they were looking to do that. And there have been a couple of other, but I think that's a very good suggestion. And the existing exempt actions list may want to be updated. I have, there are a few towns that haven't never adopted it, and I've encouraged some of them to do that over the years. And there have been a few in the past few years, actually, and no one else has chosen to adopt that. But maybe if we kind of go over it and update it and add some new things to it, we may be able to move that along a little bit, because would be more efficient not to have to look at those, honestly.
Just the residential and the on-site, like.
Correct.
Yeah,
We're using it for the house alone,
exactly. Yeah,
nothing commercial.
right.
Yep. Yep, sounds like a good idea. Anybody else have anything else to bring before this board?
No.
If not, we'll stand adjourned at 7:24. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.